We want to go back to KCRA 3's Brian Hickey in the high country right now. Brian, you're a very experienced backcountry skier. You know a lot about avalanches. What's your first takeaway after listening to that press conference?
Well, first off, it's just the totality. I mean, it confirmed what we had all feared, that the number of deceased likely at 9. The sheriff saying clearly that this search for this final 9th victim is a recovery, not a rescue effort. So while they have recovered the bodies of 8, is at this time presumed that there's 9 people. And in my time here in the Sierra, have not seen anything of this magnitude. We have certainly seen multiple fatalities in other avalanches, but nothing of this size. And just given the conditions that we have out here, it has not stopped snowing. I'm at Alpine Meadows right now, on the Alpine Meadows side of Palisades, Tahoe. The snow continues to come down. And just thinking about those searchers that had gone out in these conditions last night, I have backcountry skied at night before, and it's a whole different experience. And then when you have a looming hazard that you know is there, it already presented itself once, and you really have to tip your hat to these rescuers who went out in those conditions. Driving last night from the Palisades Tahoe side to the Alpine side, just in a vehicle, was a white-knuckle, scary proposition. Now imagine doing that on foot or in a snowcat, knowing that there's looming snowfields above you. But it's something those rescuers willingly did as volunteers, knowing the danger, but also knowing that if they didn't get there, those other 6 may not be there to rescue today. So you really got to tip your hat to those rescuers and the effort that they went to last night to get those folks out of there. They were able to locate the 8, as you heard. They were using beacons, that all of the clients had beacons. I have been on the guide company's website, and as expected, everyone was required to have a beacon, shovel, or probe. That's standard gear that you would carry in the backcountry. And if you didn't have it, they would require you to rent it, so that everyone had that. And so when they got on scene, they were able to do a quick search and locate those victims via their avalanche beacons. And I actually have mine on right now. I can show you what we're talking about, because there was some confusion during the press conference about what a beacon is. And this is mine right here. It's strapped to my body under my jacket. So if something were to happen to me and my jacket got ripped off, this would still be attached to my lowest layer on me. So here I am currently in a receive mode, as all of us would be, or in send mode. And so if you, Lisa, were to be buried, I would switch mine to search. And my buddy whose house I'm staying at, his is currently transmitting, and that sound is now his beacon, and it's giving me a direction of where he is buried. And so using those devices, they were able to do a quick search for those 8, and that's why they were able to find them last night. But clearly their effort was to get the survivors out, and they can go back later and recover those victims. Now, of course, the transceiver could lose its batteries. So as you heard the sheriff say, they did mark them with avalanche probes so that they could be able to go back and locate those decedents. And they still have that 9th person to look for. So presumably their beacon is not working, or they were swept further down the mountain, and they'll just have to go back and do a more thorough search, which at that point could involve using just probes, where stop me when you need to, Lisa, but I can continue to show you some of the other stuff here.
Keep going.
Okay, in my bag. So this is, again, standard gear that anybody would carry. So here's the handle to my shovel.
And they were all required to have these things that you're showing us, right? Okay.
Here's the shovel here, because if you were involved in a slide, you can't dig with your hands. The best you could use is a ski or a snowboard.
And is that is that strapped on your back?
It's in my back.
Okay, okay, got it.
Gear.
Okay.
And then this right here is the avalanche probe that you also heard them talk about.
Right.
So my probe is folded up, and you can quickly throw it out like that, pull the cable, and now it's locked in. And now I have a probe where you literally go out and you stick this in the snow, and the morbid task of hoping to find somebody by probing through the snow. And once you do locate somebody, then you go in with your shovel and work on that rescue and or recovery in this situation. So once they get back out there looking for that 9th person, if they did not have a beacon signal last night, it's likely going to be a team of people in a line just methodically probing in front of them looking for that 9th person. So Again, at this point, because it's gone into a recovery and no longer a rescue, there's no need to put people into harm's way. The snow has continued to pile up overnight. Every night here that we've been up here, we've received at least an additional foot, if not 18 inches of new snow.
Wow.
And that's at this elevation. So you think of all that new snow on top of that persistent weak layer that we heard the Avalanche Forecast Office talking about. That is already further load on top of a weak layer. And at this point, the rescuers have already put themselves at risk, and at this point they need to mitigate that risk and go in when the time is right.
Well, and Brian, when you talk about the weak layer, it's really like a sheet cake, right? Layers in a sheet cake.
Sure.
And especially if you have a weak layer above a heavier layer, we're getting all that new snow, the weak layer underneath can collapse. And when you add gale force winds that we had yesterday, that's just kind of what pushes it along, right? Am I understanding that
Sure.
correctly?
You know, that is very good. I like the sheet cake analogy. When snow falls at different temperatures, the snow crystals are different. They're distinctly different. They can be very sharp with pointy edges, or they can be very round edges, and those all bond in different ways. And so when you have a certain type of snow at a layer that hasn't bonded well with the layer below it, and then you put a bunch of weight on top of that, you know, like you said, it can either collapse or it can shear and leave what's called a crown. That's a large area where it breaks away from and goes sliding down the mountain. In this case, as we heard, the initial observations were an avalanche the size of a football field, which is big. In the backcountry, we often see avalanches. In the ski resort, you can see the ones that they trigger, and generally you don't see them that big. The initial report for this slide was on the backside of Perry's Point, which is a mountain that is next to Frog Lake. Now, and at Frog Lake, there are a series of huts there. They're always booked up. I would like to go out there at some point, but it's very hard to get a reservation there. And these folks were making their way out, and what it appears is they were on the backside of Perry's Point when this slide came off, and whether it was a natural release or somebody on it, that'll all be under investigation.
And we heard them say someone saw the avalanche coming. They yelled avalanche, and you see, I'm just imagining an NFL football field of snow coming towards me. There's really no time to react or do anything, right, Brian? Or what would you do? What would you do, Brian, if you were there?
At that point, I would try to drop any gear I had and just start swimming. You want to try to get to the top of the layer of snow, or if you had a backpack that inflates like an airbag, that'll float you to the top. But it doesn't sound like that equipment was at least deployed at this point.